Video directions, Surrealism Team Project. So if you go into your image design class, you can get to this folder by scrolling over here on your home page. Do you ever do that? I never use this, but there it is, Final Surrealism. It says get started, launch. I'm just doing this for fun. I've never actually done this before. Woo! Okay. All it did was take me to the same folder that I could have gone into if I'd clicked content and scrolled down and found the Final Surrealism due December 15th. Now, notice that there are two folders. One is Unit 10, Masking Images, because masking is a skill that we briefly touched on in the Restoring Photos assignment, but I would like you to become the master of masking in this Surrealism project. So firstly, you are going to be clicking on the Unit 10 folder, okay? So it says directions, watch and follow the video tutorial to learn mask and filter skills, connect the lesson to your chosen theme, remember themes, publish your JPEG to your Sparc video portfolio, and disregard the part of the video that says to submit to the Dropbox. I have a video tutorial here. You're going to click on that and watch and follow that as you have for your other units. And then once you get that, you're going to export your JPEG. Make sure you save your gimp.exe file, because if you ever have a project and it's questionable whether or not it's your own work, I'm going to request that you submit that file to me so that I can see your work, okay? So always do that. And then you're just going to publish to your Sparc video portfolio. If you're not sure how to publish to your Sparc video portfolio, I know in one of our units, let's see. Oh, it's right here. It says create portfolios, week 3. So when you click on week 3, let's see. You're going to publish to your Sparc video portfolio. And then it has directions right here, including Sparc video directions. So here is where I show you how to get your portfolio started in case you forgot about that. So yeah, it's in there. And so then this stuff is, you know, an optional read. I read through everything in the video. So next, you're going to do your Surrealism Project folder after you've learned how to mask, okay? You will create a surrealism design based on your theme that expresses your message in an unexpected way. These images are from artist Platon Girot on the left, from Russia. And on the right, we have Tommy Ingberg from Sweden. So 2 different styles. Directions, watch the video Surrealism, the big ideas below. What are 2 ways you would describe surrealism? You're going to take the quiz, what is surrealism? You'll look at the websites of Platon Girot and Tommy Ingberg, and the links are below. What design elements make their artworks look so believable? What is visually appealing about the way their artwork is exhibited on their websites? And what issues are not user-friendly? And I ask you that because I really think that one of those websites is a very successful site. And the other one, I felt like for me, the personal experience that I had was limiting. And so I'd be curious to hear what your thoughts are about that. And then below the video tutorials, rather I should say, watch the video tutorials below to get some ideas of how to go about creating surreal designs in GIMP. You're going to use them for inspiration, but don't copy. So you're going to create your surrealism design in GIMP. Okay, there's a rubric down below. You'll work with the team once you've got your design finished to create a website exhibiting your work together, okay? So you're going to click the Team Google Doc link below to sign up for your team. Let's look at what that looks like. So Team Google Doc, click there. And we've got one team that's already full. And so if it's yours, you're just going to come over here and you'll just delete where it says enter name and you would put your name there, okay, to start the next team. So everyone is just going to, and you can click Control Z on these. You definitely want to be careful not to delete something that somebody else put on there. So then the other things that we need to talk about is the fact that, breadcrumb trail, you're going to communicate with your team members in the spaces provided on the Google Doc, okay, outside of class. But this Friday, December 13th at 11:30, you will have time to work with your team on creating your website. Now, remember, this time is designated for you guys to work together. It's unlimited. You can work as long as you want. Mrs. Girot and the rest of the teachers are not going to be able to attend live classes that day because we are going to be in a professional development, but I'm still going to create a class connect for you to work with your team. And I know I need to update the plan. Yes, if you click on plan, I am in the week view, which is the view I recommend because then you get a bird's eye view of what's going on. You'll notice that I did say there was no class because I didn't think there was going to be class, but then I realized, well, just because I can't be there doesn't mean students shouldn't use that time to get together and create their websites together. So this is your designated teamwork. If you click here on that and go more, it has a note for you. It says teamwork. This is a required team time. You will work on creating your website together. Please sign up for a team here and show up prepared to collaborate. Let's click on that link, and here it is once again. And it says, who is the team leader? So these are the first things that you want to talk about as a team. Decide what your jobs will be. Who's going to do what? So this is where your critical thinking and your questioning process comes into play. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. This is something that you're going to work on as a team to problem solve, okay? This is the foundation of project-based learning. This is where you have a question. How do we create a website? And you have to come up with the questions that lead to the answers. So I'm starting you with some questions. Who's the team leader? Decide what your jobs will be. Who will do what? Create deadlines to make sure everyone can get their job done on time. How will you communicate with each other outside of class? Decide what free website builder you use. I recommend Wix sites. Then get started. You're going to find your team's page below to start communicating. Please don't accidentally erase each other's work, so you can start communicating right here. And I recommend when you communicate, you can say, this is Rachel, don't use last names. I've got my project done. I'm ready to meet and start building the website. What site do you guys want to use? Here are a couple I've looked at. And then I can include the links to a couple of sites I've looked at. Get back to me, right? Okay, so plan to come to class Friday. I won't be there, but your teammates will be, okay? And plan to use that time to get it done. All right, and then the Surrealism Project itself, I would recommend getting that done before your team meets on Friday so that you actually have some work to put on your website. I know that students were saying that they would like to get it done by Sunday, but that doesn't really make sense since you guys are meeting on Friday. So I would have it done Thursday. Altogether, though, your project needs to be submitted to the Dropbox by Sunday, and your website needs to be completed by Wednesday, the 18th, so that I can have that graded and we can have our final critique on Friday, the 20th, before we go to winter break. So I'm just back in this folder now. I'm scrolling down and I want to just go over the different things that are in here. So there's that video, Surrealism, the Big Ideas. You're going to watch that so that you can learn what surrealism and think of two details. You're going to take this surrealism quiz. You're going to respond in professional language and complete sentences about what those two details are that you want to share about surrealism with me. And then there is the Playton Uric website and the Tommy Ingberg website that you're going to look at, and you're going to compare and contrast those two sites to decide what makes a successful website. You're going to use that critique of their sites as a kind of a baseline for the type of site that you and your team would like to create together. So then the video tutorial, how to add a layer mask by V Scorpion C. V Scorpion C is seriously one of my favorite uh, tutorial makers. I love her work. I love her voice, her pacing, everything is great. So do that. Open up GIMP while you're watching her video tutorial and learn how to do those skills that she's teaching you. And then there's video tutorial Bear in the Road. This is a really fun one where it demonstrates, let me click on here. I think there's a nice video how to make it so it looks like a bear is coming out of the road. Great surrealism piece, right? So be sure to watch that video. And this one uses some different techniques, not the layer mask. I do want you to use the layer mask at least once in your design, but you don't have to use it all the time. Think about, I want you to know when it's appropriate, when it's best to use it, when not. So watch both of those, follow along in GIMP and practice those skills. There's the team Google Doc where you sign up for your team. Here's the Dropbox with the rubric. 80 points possible. 5 points. The composition combines at least 5 photographs, and all 5 original photographs are saved and locked in separate layers. Don't use your original photograph to do the work. Duplicate it. Right click on the layer, duplicate it. Here's how that looks. Right click on the layer, duplicate layer, okay? Then you will hide and lock the layer that you're not using. You can call it original. And then you'll know that I don't want to use that one. Any changes that I make to this image here, I want to make those on the duplicate layer itself. 5 points. Duplicates of the originals are used as work layers. 5 points. Layers are labeled with descriptors that match the content. 10 points. Design uses at least one masked object. And that unit 10 went over mask objects as well as V Scorpion's video. And we did a little bit of masking in the photo restoration. So at this point, you're ready to use it. 10 points. Selections are concise. 10 points. Images are blended together in a way that looks believable. So you need to think about the way colors the colors and the contrast are matched evenly. Let me give you some examples. All right. So, oops. Yeah, so we're looking at selections are concise, images blend together in a way that looks believable. So this is great. The student used their original photograph, but it's a really low quality image. It doesn't have a lot of resolution. It doesn't have a lot of pixels per inch. So as you can see, it's first of all very blurry. It's not sharp. Second of all, this selection process was very sloppy. Even you can tell that this student used a subtractive method, painting, erasing the background of this picture so that this other blue seascape comes through behind. Really sloppy job. You got to take pride in what you're doing. You know, you want this to be a professional looking product. And here's another example of sloppy selection. We should be able to see more of the, fuzziness around the edges. And what's even worse, though, is that this isn't really telling a story. Surrealism really needs to make your mind go deep into the artwork to try to understand. It should be like a Where's Waldo kind of experience where you are looking to see what other unexpected things you can find in the background. The other thing is that The cat contrast is different than the background contrast. The color of the cat. If a cat were really sitting in this place, first of all, it would probably be sized differently. And we'd see shadows on the ground, and we'd see these beautiful colors of the lighting reflecting up onto the cat itself. The cat would have a blue hue as well, being a part of this landscape. So you need to think about the way that the color and the light match or don't match on your pictures. It all needs to look very um, unified. Please don't do the typical headshot with a background. There's just nothing surreal about this. It's a wolf with a lightning background. The selection work on this wolf, however, is gorgeous. But the headshot with a background, it's boring. It's not telling a story. So I need you to tell a story. Um, the cat sitting on the water. Great idea. The actual color of the cat and the contrast of it and the background, they don't match. The sizing is off. And if this cat were really sitting on the surface of the water would be lapping over the cat's paws. There would be like shadowing on the water, oddly enough, and the shadow would actually be cast somewhere on the bottom of the pool. This elephant, for example, we'd be able to see through the water and see his hooves under the water. The contrast of the elephant and the rest of this, it's pretty good. I probably would go a little more contrast on the elephant just because we have such pure, deep, dark blacks and shadows. And then when you do shadows of the elephant and what you can see under there, it needs to match what's in the picture. So you use your color picker and pick the colors directly from there. Then this is a great example of a student who has blended two images together and it looks believable. It's not a very complex story. Remember, one of the parts of the rubric is that you need to have 5 images that you blend together. So this is only 2, the background and the giraffe. So what else could we do to tell this story and make it more complex and fun for the viewer? This is a really fun one. This is a student who actually, yes, copy and pasted all of these birds to create the shape of the bird. This is a gorgeous composition, a perfect example of blending together more than 5 images to make it look realistic. And finally, this one also is great. Now, the one thing about this, notice that there are shadows of all of the seagulls on the beach, but we don't have any shadows of the basketball players. So do not forget that everything casts a shadow, okay? So make sure that you do that. So those were some great examples. The light source coming from the same direction. You don't want to have one element of your image have the light coming from the left and another with the light coming from the right. That would just look funny. Um, so make sure that that matches and submit both of your files with your first and last name at the beginning. And then that's 60 points. So you'll submit that to the Dropbox by Sunday. And then 20 points is student worked with a team to create a surrealism website that exhibits their work together. So each of your artworks will be on your site. You'll post the link in the comments of the Dropbox. So you'll go ahead and just get started on that, get your project done, get signed up to work with a team, come to class on Friday, build your website, and that's your final project, guys.